right. Well, good evening and welcome to the 15th annual Tri-City Crystal Apple Awards for Excellence in Education. And my name is Deb Bowen, and I'm pleased to be your MC tonight. The Crystal Apple Award was first introduced to the Tri-Cities 15 years ago by John Umbarger. Dr. Umbarger, would you raise your hand? Since that time, more than 175 extraordinary teachers from across our region have received this honor. John, you did a good job. At this time, I'd like to ask all past Crystal Apple Award winners to please stand, and we'd like to recognize you. All past Crystal Apple Award winners. The Crystal Apple Planning Committee spends countless hours pulling all the details together for tonight's event, and I'd like to introduce them to you. Please hold your applause until I've introduced all of them. First, we have Cal Dudney with Mission Support Alliance, and we have Jerry Holloway with Washington River Protection Solutions. Jerry, way back in the back. And with Educational Service District 123, we have Superintendent Bruce Hawkins and the very talented Molly Curtis. Let's give them a round of applause. Of course, these awards are only possible through the very generous support of the businesses and organizations that provide both the funding and the gifts for this year's winners. And now, what you've all been waiting for, I'd like to introduce the Superintendent of the Kennewick School District, Mr. Dave Bond, to begin awarding the Crystal Apple Awards.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Bond, Superintendent of the Kennewick School District. This is one of my favorite events of the year, and I consider it to be an honor to be here this afternoon to introduce our district's Crystal Apple Award winner. But before I introduce her, I'd like to take a minute to thank all the sponsors, myself. I know Deb already mentioned them, but I'd like to also say we couldn't do this kind of an event without great sponsors, and so we really appreciate all the work that they do and all the contributions that they make to make this even more special. Some of you may have heard me talk about my beliefs that some folks in politics and some even in the media have given Americans a false view of what's actually happening in our public education system. Some of them have even tried to convince us that it's failing. Worse, they point to the quality of our teachers as one of the reasons why it's failing. I couldn't disagree more. And so an event like today's event is a breath of fresh air for all of us who day in and day out have the opportunity to witness the enormous contributions that our teachers make to our society. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Carol Webster Claffin and ask if any of her family are here, if they would stand to be recognized. Congratulations. Thank you. So one of the hallmarks of a Crystal Apple Award-winning teacher is that he or she positively impacts not only the classroom and the students in the classroom, but also the staff, the parents, and the teaching profession as a whole. Carol is just such a person. She's been with the Kennewick School District since 1979 and spent most of those years working in a really challenging environment, that of special education. A large part of being an educator in a special education resource room involves meetings with parents. Carol has been particularly praised for her ability to connect with parents on a truly personal level. They know that she wants the very best for their children, and this creates an atmosphere of mutual respect. To make that point, I want to read a couple of paragraphs from one of the nomination letters that was included in her packet. Here's from a parent. My daughter developed right on grade level until 3rd grade. So when it came time to learn multiplication tables, we thought she'd have them memorized in no time. But she struggled and fell behind. A child knows when they are different from their peers, and our daughter began to feel like she was broken. Her teacher recommended that she be tested, to which we agreed. In 4th grade, we learned that although she excelled in other subjects, she had a specific learning disability in math. Carol Webster Claflin was the teacher assigned to work with our daughter. Carol confided in us that our daughter was feeling pretty beat up, unsure of herself, and scared she couldn't learn. With creative methods, Carol tailored a program that spoke to our daughter's learning style and strengths. Our daughter trusted Carol and flourished under her care and kindness. Carol tried to give her all the tools she would need to get through middle school math successfully. Living near the school, our daughter often stopped by into the resource room to update Carol on her progress in middle school and receive continual advice and love. The connection they forged instilled great confidence in our daughter. She learned to trust herself. Our daughter made it through middle school with some resource help, but went on to do basic math requirements in high school all by herself. To this day, she claims it was Carol Webster Claflin who made the difference for her. As a parent, I had questions about the process and was given directions and support from Carol that was invaluable to me. Always when I see Carol, she asks about our girl. She is the epitome of a talented, caring teacher whose skill and kindness and love gave a young lady confidence to succeed. There are many more stories like this that we could tell that came in the nomination packet. That is why it is truly my honor to present the Crystal Apple Award for the Kennewick School District, representing all the great teachers in the Kennewick School District, to Carol Webster Claflin. Carol has declined an opportunity to speak to you. So I'd like to present you with that. And then and now I'd like to introduce Dr. Lou Gates, the Superintendent of the Columbia School District.
Today, I am pleased to introduce two of Columbia School District's Crystal Apple Award winners and two of our best, Columbia Elementary teachers, Cindy Glazier and Holly Hamilton. And what I'd like would be for all the families to stand first of these two fine teachers. Any family here? And go ahead and stay standing. Fellow teachers, family, you may stay. Fellow teachers, students, and friends of the teachers. Let's have everybody stand that came to say thank you. And go ahead and stand again, that's great, thank you. These two fine teachers who have come up on the stage with me are the type of teachers who, when their students go home in the evening and their moms ask, "What did you learn today?" their students eagerly reply, "Not enough. I have to go back tomorrow." First, Cindy Glazier. Cindy has really been a member of Columbia School District for, you can argue, all of her life. She began in our schools as a kindergarten student and as a proud graduate of Columbia High School. She received her Bachelor's of Arts in Elementary Education from Eastern Washington University and her Master's degree in Professional Development from Heritage. After teaching for a few years in a sister district, Cindy found her way back home to Burbank. This year marks her 14th year at Columbia Elementary, where she has taught at second grade level and as well as other classrooms. She currently has returned to second grade level. Cindy possesses a caring and inviting personality that engages students. And Cindy has no ordinary classroom. Camp Glazier, as she calls her classroom, is a themed rustic backwoods camp. This is not unusual. It is not unusual to enter Camp Glazier to find students reading with flashlights. She has created an environment where students love to learn, and she empowers them with a yes, I can do attitude. Camp Glazier has low-hanging devices that her little people easily navigate, but taller people, such as her superintendent, must carefully navigate through this maze. With empathy and discipline, Cindy creates a safe space for children to learn, where they aspire to do their best. Principal in Yale says, on a daily basis, Mrs. Glazier challenges her students to take risks in an environment that supports children learning with purposeful protection from the adverse consequences socially and educationally. When you walk into Camp Glazier, said Mr. Yale, you open a door into a compassionate and challenging, student-centered environment. Using GLAD and WOW strategies, acronyms known to educators, Cindy has a positive impact on her students, particularly those who struggle with reading and with math. She has been a careful and helpful colleague and instrumental member of Columbia Elementary and all of our staff at Columbia School District. She has been on adoption teams as well as support reading teams. Life skill special education teacher Kevin Alley says, Cynthia is a powerful teacher and truly cares about all of her students. She makes sacrifices every day, just as she made some huge sacrifices for my life. He goes on to say that as a special education teacher and proud community member, Cindy is the strongest person I know, someone who gave everything to make sure I am a teacher that I am today. She's my mom. Kevin, why don't you stand? Thank you. Her concern, respect, and love of students extend beyond the classroom and into the community. Whether she's taking tickets at football, volleyball, or basketball games, facilitating an educational night, helping a 4-H group, or assisting with a PTO event, Cindy is frequently approached by adoring students and former students. As a community member, Nancy White said, many times I have seen former students of hers walk into an event, drop everything, and run over to talk with her and give her a hug. The amazing part is it happens with former students that are in all age ranges, elementary, middle school, high school, college, and adults. Please join me in congratulating 2013 Crystal Apple recipient, Cindy Glazier. Our next Crystal Apple winner is Columbia Burbank Elementary kindergarten teacher, Holly Hamilton. Principal in Yale described Holly as the heart and soul of our kindergarten team. A Pasco High graduate, thank you, Bulldogs. At that time, there was only one high school. Holly earned her teaching degree from Central Washington University. After attending Columbia Basin College, she began her teaching career in Battleground School District and joined the staff at Columbia Elementary in 1992, where she first taught second and third grades. In 1996, Holly became a kindergarten teacher and is described as the bedrock of that program. Holly engages all of her students with a fun approach to curriculum. Her students can be heard singing, reciting fun, seasonal poems, and are known to dance around the room to chase away the wiggle bugs. She has created a classroom that is both engaging and exciting. Reading is incredibly important to Holly and an area that she has focused much of her attention, both personal and professional. Colleague and fifth grade teacher Richard Dexter says, Holly helped to implement the Zoo Phonics reading program at the elementary grade level. She took extensive hours looking for the right reading program that would build the kindergarten students' skills. It was exciting to see her acting out the motions and sounds that are associated with this reading program, no matter how awkward they are. Holly is always thinking of her students first, no matter how embarrassing the sounds or the actions might be. She not only teaches students, she teaches reading and she lives it. Stressing the importance of a good vocabulary, Holly told her young charges one day, use a word 10 times and it shall be yours for a lifetime. Somewhere in the back of her classroom, Mrs. Hamilton heard a small voice chanting, Corey, 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 Corey. Holly's love of reading is further evidence in her ambitions and successful hobby. Holly has written 3 children's books to encourage her students and her great nieces and nephews to read. Holly will literally create opportunities for her students, even if she has to write the book herself. My own grandson loves your books. Thank you. Each year, Holly takes her class to the pumpkin patch in the Burbank Library. However, it is a trip to her family farm in West Pasco that students talk about for years to come. At the farm, the students get to see animals, orchards, and crops, enjoy an outdoor lunch, and squeal with delight when the farmer flies overhead in his own plane. Holly is an expert in early child education, an excellent teacher and mentor for fellow teachers. Because other kindergarten teacher positions in the district have been part-time positions, she has been a mentor to 5 other teachers in our district who now are full-time teachers. In the past 10 years, Holly has served as a mentor for other teachers as well in other schools. Talking to Holly about curriculum, especially in early learning, reading and math, is as an opportunity to professionally grow is something that Mr. Yale, her principal, says. He adds, as a principal, in navigating tenuous waters of a district, implementing new ideas, especially full-day kindergarten, has been helpful by having Holly on the staff, and she is a true blessing. Holly frequently and happily shares her free time beyond the classroom. She has coached Columbia High School tennis team. She assists in school levies and bond campaigns. She currently serves on Canton Wooten Board of Directors and is very involved with Canton Wooten Junior Grange. Her leadership with these organizations has led to opportunities for her students. Colleagues and supporters all agree that her smile and attitude are consistently upbeat, supportive, contagious. Several people notice that you will never see Holly upset or frustrated with her students. Holly Hamilton is absolutely dedicated to the individual growth of each child in her classroom and to the great good of our school. Help me thank Holly for her efforts. Now it's my honor to introduce Rich Puryear, Interim Superintendent for the Richland School District. Rich.
It's an honor to be in this podium to recognize the teachers who go the extra mile, teachers who make a difference in our lives. It's my privilege to tell you about Deborah Madison, 5th grade gifted teacher at Lewis and Clark Elementary, and Paul Maher, government and leadership teacher, basketball coach, and ASB advisor. Oh. Guess I'm shorter than I thought I was. Can you hear me now?
Gotta speak louder.
Louder? Okay, got it. Let me first thank the sponsors for today, and I'd like the families of Deborah to stand up. And the families of Paul Maher, family members of Paul Maher. Staff, Lewis and Clark. And staff at Hanford High. Thank you. And friends of both. Thank you. Well, let me start over again then. It's a privilege to tell you a little about Deborah Madison, fifth grade, highly capable teacher at Lewis and Clark Elementary, and Paul Maher, government teacher, basketball coach, and ASB advisor at Hanford High School. Deborah and Paul are leaders in their respective schools. Each has passion for helping students succeed and encourage their students to be the best human beings they can be. Deborah and Paul, without a doubt, represent the best of what Richland School District and public education are all about. Deborah has taught in Lewis and Clark since 1997. She has served the building leadership team and district's math committee. Deborah is currently serving as a building trainer for the Common Core standards and helping Lewis and Clark staff transition to the new standards. She has participated in the Pacific Northwest Laboratory Arid Lands Research Project and has been instrumental in improving students' writing skills for science. Deborah was one of the first Lewis and Clark teachers to receive a smart board and eagerly share her resources with staff. In 2009, Lewis and Clark School earned a State Achievement Award for our gifted students on the measurement of school progress assessment. Deborah was part of that team representing Lewis and Clark at the state recognition ceremony. 5 years ago, Deborah served on steering committee, which was instrumental in helping create an initiative, the Highly Capable Program at our 3 middle schools. This committee studied various middle school programs in the state, conducted site visits to gather as much information as possible. The Richland School District Middle School, a highly capable program, is flourishing today, thanks in part to Deborah's work. Deborah continually self-reflects on her own practice to improve her instructional skill and delivery. She is enthusiastic supporter of the district Star Walks and also willing to host visitors in her classroom. Other school districts have sent their teachers to observe her classroom and then modeled similar programs. Recently, Deborah observed the need to fifth graders at Lewis and Clark to know one another in participation for preparation for middle school, so she set up quarterly team activities to encourage students in all fifth grade classes to work together. These fun icebreakers helped tremendously with middle school transition and broke down any preconceived notions about the highly capable student. Most importantly, today, though it is passed on to all of you that these close to Debbie say about her, that reflect on her character and as a teacher and as a human being. A parent quoted, "Deborah helps these highly capable children build and connect to something deep within themselves, helping them develop the tenacity to deal with adversity and quiet inner strength to slow down and listen to themselves and the confidence to embrace challenge." Thank you, Deborah, for inspiring the students that come to the classroom and to think outside the box, to strive for success, and to reach for the stars in all that they do. Thank you. And now we have our outstanding teacher, advisor, and coach from Hanford High School, Paul Maher. Paul joined the Hanford High School staff in 1995. He served on the school's faculty council for 18 years, has been active in numerous school improvement committees and his professional learning community. As a leadership advisor, he has twice been part of the steering committee, which has brought over 1,000 students to the Tri-Cities for the Washington Association of Student Councils annual conference. He is a go-to guy at Hanford High. Anything associated with ASB activities and leadership activities. Paul is also the varsity basketball coach since 1995. He has had his share of successes with teams making it to regionals and to state. But Paul's coaching success is much more than just wins and losses. Paul uses basketball to help athletes build an attitude to team, set goals, recover from mistakes, and sacrifice for the greater good of the team. He has set examples for young men on their teams to work hard, to be honest, and conduct themselves with integrity. These character traits, more than the wins and losses, are what will truly impact young men, and these young men will be remembered as they enter the workforce and become husbands and fathers themselves. When you step into Paul's classroom, it does not take long to notice his enthusiasm for teaching and his connection with students. The subject of U.S. government is alive and well in Paul's class. His passion for helping students understand the importance of how government works and how government impacts their real lives. This does not happen. Paul spends countless hours on planning lessons not only to meet school district and state learning goals, but lessons that engage students to get them hooked on social studies and history. I want to share a comment from a fellow staff member. Paul is one of the most dedicated teachers I've known in my 20 years of teaching. He is respected by his colleagues as well as his students. As coach, he works tirelessly to help his players build positive attitude and think of team before themselves. Thank you, Paul, for passion, humor, and encouragement you bring to your classroom every day. Your love of teaching is making a real difference in the lives of Hanford High School students. In closing, as superintendent of the Richland School District, I am proud to stand on this podium with Deborah Madison and Paul Maher. They are true educators and compassionate human beings who are helping young people in our community to do their best they can. Congratulations, Paul. It's my privilege to introduce Lance Hahn, the superintendent of Findlay School District.
Welcome, and I'd like to thank you for joining us in celebrating these remarkable teachers. I'm very lucky because I have 4 up here this year, and it's quite an honor. My name is Lance Hahn, and I'm honored to introduce to you an amazing team from the Findlay School District. Our district STEM team, as they are known, includes Mike Davis, Elaine Hagan, Beth Kirk, and Diana Chanthavisuk. I was worrying about that one all day long. She teaches 2nd grade, so her kids call her Miss C, I believe. As an educational leader, it is my goal to step back and give staff the freedom to explore new avenues and programs. This is exactly what Mike, Elaine, Beth, and Diana have done. Together, they have brought an entire staff, I did this last year, on board with STEM implementation, have dedicated long hours as a cohesive and committed group, and are recognized statewide as role models in bringing STEM education into the classroom. They actually just got back from a 2-day training yesterday where they went to the training and actually did most of the training. So we're very proud of them. At this time, any family members that are here, would you please stand? The STEM team at Findlay Elementary had the foresight to recognize that for anything to be successful, it must begin early on. Therefore, while many STEM schools are at the middle or high school level, these teachers have engineered a program with a science focus that begins in kindergarten. Working with their fellow teachers, this STEM team created a cohesive STEM program that touches each grade level in elementary school and is branching into our middle school as well. The vision, action plan, and core outcomes they developed are clear and supported by their colleagues. Teachers across our elementary have enhanced their curriculum to transform into STEM-focused school. Each individual who wrote a letter in support of nominating this team highlighted their accomplishments in making STEM education understandable and real for all teachers. The team being recognized today comprises 4 of the 7-member team who first committed to bringing STEM to Findlay through projects introduced in 2011. Mike, Elaine, Beth, and Diana worked alongside Lorianne, I did it again, Donovan, would you please stand up, who is a former Crystal Apple winner, and Kurt Silvers, who is a business partnership with PNNL, and as well as our Findlay Elementary Principal, Pam Kinney. To bring STEM education to the entire school district, dedication, follow-through, passion, and professionalism all describe the work of this team. As one letter of support read, this team is highly motivated, tightly knit, and is charting a practical path forward in STEM implementation in a public elementary. Now, if any of you that are in education realize how hard it is to get a consensus between 2 teachers, this is pretty amazing that they're able to do this with our whole staff. So, not only has this team rallied the support and dedication of an entire staff, but they have also gained significant community support over the last several years. During the 2011-12 school year, the team received a grant from Washington STEM. That same year, they established a partnership with PNNL, whose staff has shared their knowledge and expertise with both Findlay teachers and students. They have planned and attended Washington laser training and have developed numerous materials that teachers across the state are utilizing as they work to develop STEM programs of their own in elementaries. These teacher leaders have exceeded all expectations by developing a STEM program that serves as a model for elementary schools across the state. They have created a district-wide enthusiasm for STEM education that is absolutely contagious and has secured grants and partnerships that continue to impact student learning in our district. There are 3 kinds of people in this world: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what's happening. Thank you for making these things happen for Findlay Elementary. I'm honored to stand here beside such outstanding teachers. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Pasco School District, Sondra Hill.
I want to start out by thanking John Umbarger. Where are you, John? Wave to me. There you are. I don't think a lot of people realize how impactful John Umbarger's ideas and vision have been on education in the Mid-Columbia. This is just one of the many seeds he's sown since his time here that is still flourishing today. So thank you so much, John. And I want to also thank the sponsors. All these gifts are valuable, but the $1,000 unrestricted cash award makes every winner smile. Right? Yes. I also want to say I really appreciate this event every year because I believe we don't appreciate our teachers enough. And so this is a very valuable experience for me to be part of this profession. And it's an honor for me to be here this afternoon to present our Crystal Apple Awards to 2 great Pasco teachers who represent over 1,000 great Pasco teachers who work with our children today. So first I'm going to start with Rowena Chess Elementary 4th grade teacher Judy Church. And her Rowena Chess family. And if the rest of Judy's family is here, would you please stand as well? Oh, great. I want to start by telling you a little bit about Judy. In her letter of recommendation, Assistant Superintendent Cal Bacon said, in looking at Mrs. Church's 23-year career as a 4th grade teacher in Pasco School District, there is no single stellar moment that points her to this award. but rather a consistency of quiet, sometimes unseen, and yet powerful moments that have made all the difference for her students. It's interesting to note that Mrs. Church did not immediately move into teaching after college. She was helping out in her child's school as a parent volunteer when an astute principal noted that she needed to be working as a teacher. Was that Les?
That was Les.
He did many good things. He still does. She returned to college to obtain her teaching certificate to benefit more than 2 decades of Pasco students. This also may explain why Mrs. Church approaches every day and every student as though she must hurry to make up for that lost time. Her principal, Wendy Manthai, says, "It's not surprising that Judy chooses to work at a school where she can truly make a difference. Our school has a free and reduced lunch rate of 98%. But rather than focusing on the issues of poverty, incarceration, homelessness, and instability, Judy focuses on making school feel like her home, their home. Her exemplary instructional skill and rigor, personal dedication, and unique inspirational techniques are also evident when looking at her standardized test scores. Judy's scores were significantly over the state's average in both reading and math. Mrs. Church told her students they could do it. She taught them how to do it, and they did it. Judy Church feeds children's minds and helps them succeed, but she also tends to their little hearts and helps them find the courage and inspiration against sometimes the impossible odds they face. For example, when some of her students were unable to attend the HAP Awards, Judy collected their certificates for them, had them framed, and waiting for her students on Monday. But that wasn't enough for this caring teacher. As she presented her students with their certificates, she took a photo of each student for them to take home to their parents. In her letter about Mrs. Church, 5th grade student Monica Avila, and Monica is here. Monica, can you stand up? These are Monica's words, and I'm just going to prepare you. Mrs. Church was my inspiration. Mrs. Church would never forget about anyone in the class. When we were taking a test and we would struggle, she would remind us that we were the best and the brightest, and that would bring our hopes up. I thought Mrs. Church was the best and the brightest. The day that bell rang for summer vacation, I knew I wanted to be a 4th grade teacher. See what I'm telling you? Here, Judy. Oh, and I'm not done. Here are some other words from some of Judy's students. One of them said, "This is my special rock. Mrs. Church gave it to me to hold when I get nervous. It just sucks all my nerves out so I can concentrate better in class, and it really works." Here's another one. "Hello, I'm here from Pasco High. Can I go say hello to Mrs. Church? She is my favorite teacher, and I want to show her my report card." We are fortunate in Pasco that a PTA mom took the advice of that principal and became a teacher. Even more fortunate are the aspiring engineers, teachers, doctors, and artists who are being led down the path of their own dreams by this dedicated teacher. Here's to the leaders and dreamers who will one day say, "Mrs. Church was the teacher who believed in me and changed my life." So on behalf of Pasco School District and our community, thank you, and congratulations, Judy. Raquel says she's tough, so I'm holding on to this. So our next Pasco recipient is a relative newcomer to the field of education, but she's already making a big impact in just her few short years with us. Raquel joined the faculty of Pasco High School in 2006. And I know that Raquel has family here this afternoon, so can you stand up too? Not just her Pasco High family. Thank you. Raquel immediately began to have a positive impact on her students and proved to be an esteemed colleague. Her principal, Raul Cital, explains, "Mrs. Martinez uses research-based strategies to impact students and also adapts materials to ensure that second language learners have the same opportunity to learn science. Mrs. Martinez has a unique set of skills that fit perfectly with the needs of Pasco High students. She has patience and persistence, two skills perfect for students who are learning English. Excuse me. Humor and heart, skills that help students wade through the complexities of science, while her enthusiasm and ebullience for science keep students actively participating in labs and lessons. Teaching students in 2 languages requires strong instructional practices and leadership skills. Mrs. Martinez never shies away from becoming a better teacher, and indeed, she seeks out these opportunities. It was her hard work, enthusiasm, and knowledge that led her to become Science Department Chair at Pasco High in 2009. As chair of the department, Raquel is intentional in building capacity in her department. She allows others to lead while she coaches. Pasco High School science teacher Judy Church explains, data drives Raquel's instruction, and using formative assessments, she continually evaluates the progress of her students, which I personally observed today in her classroom. Through her leadership, she took a small group of teachers through the research on standards-based grading. Sometimes can be a little controversial. I'm looking at Dave. Her classroom, as well as the science department, is standards-based, standards-driven, and evaluated on the standards. Because of this, Pasco High School saw a sharp jump in our state end-of-course scores in our first year. With this success, several other departments are following her model. Raquel has also proven to be a leader in the greater educational community. Using her skills, knowledge, and experience as a bilingual biology teacher, she has worked on the state team to help write the tests. Raquel's work has caught the attention of many in both bilingual education and science education. She's now also working with our middle school teams for improved vertical alignment, helping them write lessons using Glazier strategies and with the Common Core, and has worked on lesson studies to develop frames that can be used for improved student writing. The common themes here today among all our fabulous teachers are dedication, commitment, intelligence, and a genuine heart for students and their success. Raquel is certainly no exception in that regard. She is tenacious about communicating with the parents in our community. At open house and school events, she often has a long line of parents waiting to meet her, most likely because she's already talked to them personally on the phone. To recognize the effort of her students, she organized an event to celebrate student science test scores. Her time, effort, and enthusiasm all communicate to both her students and their families that she is invested in and believes in each student. Parents and students, teachers, and administrators have responded to this boundless ball of energy that she is to advocate for her students and the science about which she is so passionate. This is what makes her exceptional and everyone around her better. Student Andres Ramos explains it best. He writes, she's getting there. She's tough. This is what Andres said. I have been blessed to have Mrs. Martinez as a teacher because she has a huge heart for us as students. She was always available for me anytime that was necessary. As a second language learner, she had an important task for us, how to teach us English and science at the same time. Mrs. Martinez is an excellent teacher. I noticed that she continually called my house to let my parents know how I was doing. She also called my soccer coach when I was missing work or needed to reassess a subject. I noticed that through all the things that she did for us, she never, ever was stressed out. She always taught the class like it was the only thing she had to do. On behalf of Pasco School District and our entire community, thank you both, Raquel and Judy. And I'm never prouder to be part of a community of educators than on days like this. So thank you very much. With that, I'd like to introduce Ram Castilleja, Superintendent in Kiona-Benton School District.
This is Irene Alvarado. And her family is here with her. Her husband, Jesus, would you stand, and his family members that are here? There they are. Thank you for sharing her time and her talents with us. Irene is known for having high expectations for her students. As you watch Irene teach, and I have many times in the past 6 years, she has such a high energy and enthusiasm for the contents that she's teaching, but mostly for the students that she's teaching. Irene continually pushes her students to reach and grow, and she doesn't allow them to be passive learners in her class. She is consistently guiding, correcting, and encouraging her students, and I think the important word there is encouraging. While she is very strict at making sure that they learn what she has to offer them, she is always encouraging them to grow and to do better. She does this because she truly believes in the value of education. The oldest of 3 sisters, Irene helped raise her siblings while her mother worked full-time to provide for the family. Although she knew poverty and the struggles that come with it, she understood that education meant a way out. She loved school and knew that at an early age that she wanted to be a teacher. However, it took time for Irene to reach her goal. She had 3 children of her own and had to attend college in between raising them and moving while her husband served in the Navy. In 1990, she received her Bachelor's of Science in Education with a minor in reading from the University of Texas and was on her way. She has been teaching first grade in the Kiona-Benton City School District since 2005 and has made numerous contributions to the district. Irene is on the writing curriculum committee, helping her team implement the Step Up to Writing curriculum. She is on the discipline committee and is a positive team leader for the Make Your Day program. And she's helped lead the way in using data in the classroom, teaching students to track their own data on charts and set academic goals. And it's really fun to watch the kids go through their charts and explain to you what it is, what they mean, and what they're doing, and where they were, and where they're going, and how they're going to get there. So it's a lot of fun to watch. And these are first graders. She's been teaching first grade in the Kiona-Benton, I said that, I'm sorry. One of Irene's colleagues wrote the following that exemplifies this. Irene has compassion for her students. She sees the best in them, and she is respected by the English and the Spanish-speaking parents and the community. However, Irene's positive attitude and hard-working ethics aren't just for her students. Irene is always well-prepared and very reliable, and she is well-liked and respected by all of our staff. She is always willing to share ideas, and she has opened up her classroom to newer teachers and experienced teachers alike on the staff to observe and help them with their professional certification projects. And according to the Kaibi Elementary principal, she puts in maximum effort in everything that she does for her students and for her team. So help me honor this year's Kiona-Benton City Crystal Apple awardee. And it was really interesting as I was listening to Deb's opening comments, because we used words like extraordinary, and Sondra used the word, we've heard them say all of these different things about these teachers. And for Irene to be included in this group of extraordinary, fantastic teachers, I'm just really pleased and honored to be able to thank her today. And I'd ask the Kaibi School District staff that came today to stand up and help me congratulate Irene for receiving this award. And now it's my honor to introduce Greg Taylor, the superintendent at North Franklin.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure and honor to be here today. I'd like to start off first by recognizing Shelly Hawk as the 2013 North Franklin Crystal Apple Award winner. So give her a round of applause. If I could have all of the staff and family that have come to support Shelly, please stand up and give her a round of applause, cheer, and all that stuff. You know, Shelly's an amazing lady. I was just talking to her that she taught my youngest daughter in kindergarten, and I think all kindergarten teachers are rock stars. I mean, they're amazing. Anytime you can start, if you ever see kindergartners at the beginning of school, they can barely button their pants and zip them. And I'm just amazed at how much kindergarten teachers help them in their growth. Shelly is an outstanding and dedicated kindergarten teacher at Mesa Elementary School. Kindergarten is a time for children to expand their love of learning, their general knowledge, their ability to get along with others, and their interest in reaching out to the world. The kindergarten students at Mesa Elementary are in very capable hands with Shelly Hawk. Shelly has a strong background in early childhood education. She has taught second grade, multi-age classes in her district, and she taught preschool children when she ran a preschool in her home while raising her own 3 children. So Shelly has taught on both sides of kindergarten age and knows critically how important it is for the kindergarten years in the life of a child. Shelly is incredibly intentional when planning instruction that meets the needs of each individual student. Her detailed lesson and intervention plans target each student's academic weaknesses, and she regularly collects and analyzes data to adjust instruction as children make progress. Shelly's room this year has several monolingual students. With their use of GLAD strategies and small group instruction, these ELL students are blossoming and experiencing success. Shelly is a strong mentor teacher at Mesa Elementary. She frequently meets with other North Franklin educators and support staff members to discuss best instructional practices. Shelly plays a leading role with Mesa Elementary when making building decisions, planning for extracurricular activities, and she has a great rapport with students, staff, parents, and contributes greatly to the culture and climate of the school. Shelly stays on the cutting edge of education by regularly attending professional development workshops to improve her instruction and practices. She uses a great deal of guided language acquisition design strategies in her classroom and uses every available minute of the classroom for instruction. She's an active leader on the district's kindergarten PLC team, and her positive can-do attitude is very much appreciated by all those who work with her. When you walk into Shelly's classroom, you enter a peaceful and organized learning environment. That's amazing right there. And my kindergarten students, wow. Where students are encouraged to explore and discover. She continually challenges these young children with a "my students can do anything" attitude. She makes learning exciting, active, and fun. I'd like to just share a few of the things that some of the staff and parents said. One staff member said, "Every kindergartner in our building starts with Mrs. Hawk as their teacher. She can take 25 untrained little ones and get them into school routines in just a few short weeks. It is magical." A parent said, "Mrs. Hawk's organization allows her the capability to focus on each of her students' personal needs. She makes sure that students who are excelling remain challenged and those who are struggling receive the extra attention they need." A staff person said, "I am so impressed with the community of learners that Shelly has cultivated in her classroom. Each time I'm in her classroom, students are happily and busily engaged with authentic learning tasks. Each child knows exactly what he or she is doing." And then a parent says, "Mrs. Hawk is in a league of her own, the only teacher or woman I know who can command the attention, trust, and love of 20-plus kindergarten students. She not only calms the nerves of her students, but the first-time parents as well. Mrs. Hawk is the perfect proportion of professionalism and intelligence. She brings a level of quality to our small town that cannot be surpassed. As an educator, Mrs. Hawk provides the children of our community the best start they could ever have in school." So it is my pleasure to again congratulate Shelly Hawk as the 2013 North Franklin Award winner.
Well, thank you, superintendents. That was quite a pleasure. And now we have the special 2013 Special Achievement Award that will be presented by Mr. Calvin Dudney.
As Deb said, I'm Calvin Dudney with Mission Support Alliance and a member of the Crystal Apple Steering Committee. It gives me a great privilege and honor to announce tonight's winner. First of all, I'd like to congratulate tonight's Crystal Apple winners for all that you do to prepare our students for the future. I think our kids in good hands. Each year, the winner of the Special Achievement Award goes to someone that has done some extraordinary things for the education system in the Mid-Columbia by persevering, working hard, collaborating to achieve many challenging tasks to better our students. Unlike past years, tonight, we're recognizing a team for the first time. A team of organizations that, like in the past winners, have worked hard, have persevered, and most of all have collaborated to pull off something that's a model for the state and the nation. Tonight, this year's Special Achievement Award winner is a team that brought the Tri-Cities a STEM high school. I'd like to recognize tonight the Washington State STEM Foundation, the Richland, Kennewick, and Pasco school districts, Columbia Basin College, Washington State University Tri-Cities, and the Delta High School staff, and students. So if you would, the following individuals please come forward. Representing the Washington State STEM Education Foundation, Mr. Tom Yount. Representing the school district superintendents, Sondra Hill. Oh. Representing Columbia Basin College, is Kurt here this evening? Kurt Freed, Vice President for Instructions. Representing WSU Tri-Cities Chancellor's Office, Mr. Dick Pratt. As principal and representing the staff of Delta High School, Deidre Holmberg. And representing two groups this evening, she is a Pasco School Board student representative and also a senior with our first graduating class of Delta High School, Ellie Centeno. Ladies and gentlemen, help me thank these individuals for their organizations that put this collaboration team together. You bet you can.
Hello, and thank you, Calvin, and the rest of the Crystal Apple Committee. Again, my name is Tom Yount. I'm the Executive Vice President for Energy Solutions and the current Washington State STEM Education Board President. It was only last night that I got a call from Jerry Holloway, and he invited me to meet him at CBC today at 4:30, and he wouldn't really say why. And now I kind of understand why. Just recently, a number of us, probably some of you out there and some of us up here, spent the day in Olympia at Tri-City Legislative Day trying to opine for some money for STEM education in Delta High School. And I happened to spend the better part of a day talking about STEM education in Delta High School. And I think Jerry knew that, and if I would have had time to prepare, I would have had a nice 3-page speech for y'all. But that didn't happen, so I just have a few notes that I scribbled today. So on behalf of the Washington State STEM Education Foundation Board, our community partners, our fabulous principal, and outstanding teachers, some of you are out here, we humbly accept this recognition as acknowledgement that our journey is headed in the right direction. For those of you that don't know, this community has raised in excess of $7 million of capital and in-kind contributions from both private individuals and corporate sponsors. This has allowed us to nurture, cultivate, and sustain a STEM high school program for over 350 students at Delta High School. The results that we have achieved speak for themselves, and the 3 school districts, Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland, that have come together for this tremendous achievement should be so very proud of their staff and their kids for trying and succeeding under a very high-powered microscope environment. Thank you again, and thank all of you for supporting STEM education.